3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Kicking it off with a bit of a slow start to this episode, and that's about right. This episode is the vintage Frieren experience, where nothing seems to really happen, but if you look closely, overanalyze, you are bound to find meaning in the most unexpected of places. Or you can just continue watching this video and let me do it for you. Alright, this scene pisses me the fuck off. There's no balance to anything. The trio is off-centered, creating this off-balanced look, and the background dominates the scene in general, invoking a sense of isolation. But the negative space is on the wrong side and adds to the clutter instead of resolving it. Why would they do this? I don't know, to be honest, since usually this type of awkward framing is used to build tension and unease. But this episode is literally the definition of low cortisol and does not need all this. If you have any ideas, please let me know in the comments. Fern saying they can finally enjoy the hot springs, which she wanted back in episode 1. Is this a Naruto reference? Stark playing with them kids is great continuity and characterization, which we know from season 1.
When the hot spring dried, the adventurers with big purses stopped passing through.
This scene frames Stark and Frieren in light, while Fern is in shadow, which reflects the mood of the situation as a whole. Given how avid Fern was about skinny dipping with Stark, and Frieren's also there as well, she is the most disappointed they have to wait a week before getting this opportunity, and her momentary gloominess is visually depicted through the shadow casted in her direction. In contrast, Stark has a pretty lax attitude about the hot springs, hence he is in the most well-lit section of the frame. With Frieren in the middle because while she does want to chill in an onsen, she doesn't seem to mind waiting an extra week. So after all that yapping in an attempt to sound smart, what I'm trying to say is basically the lighting reflects the emotions of each character in response to finding out that the onsen dried out. I'm probably overanalyzing this shit, but hey, that's what you're here for, right? Okay, here's some less dry analysis for you. Stark is a highly emotionally intelligent specimen, which is quietly brushed over in season 1. And here we get to see another example of this as he asks if there are any other hot springs nearby. Now at first glance, this feels like an unnecessary question. I mean, the 1,000-year-old know-it-all elf just told you that the next hot spring is a week away, and you are in the middle of literally bumfuck nowhere in a town with one building. So why would he pose this question? It's because he noticed Fern's immense disappointment and he wants to alleviate this. A lot of communication is non-verbal, yet anime tends to only focus on the verbal aspect. Probably because the majority of the anime fanbase watch anime for enjoyment and just turn their brains off, and having characters shout their feelings at the top of their lungs is a lot easier to process while faded than reading someone's body language. And that's absolutely fine, I get it. Watching anime is meant to be entertaining and not feel like an English assignment. But there's a reason quieter shows like Frieren have so many die-hard fans, and it's because of these small nuances that make the show flow so intuitively naturally.
The hidden spring of the Advas Mountains.
I think I'd like to make the trip, if that's all right with you.
And then I finally caught a fish, and it was like this big. It was so big.
Bro, what the fuck is going on here? 1. Can't Fern just fucking fly? And 2. Help her out, Stark! Stop standing there enjoying the view! If you want it, you gotta grab it! Seize the opportunity, you feel me? Frieren sleeping like a dead body? That's great continuity. Okay, finally, some action. I was low-key getting bored back there. Just kidding. Why do the heads look so damn goofy? Like they're just swinging them around like Bocce the Rock.
I've devised a genius plan.
Okay, so I think this is a good time to bring up the wacky animation in more depth. This shot feels so awkward for many reasons, but the most glaring is definitely the fact that Fern and Frieren's legs aren't moving at all. This literally makes them feel stiff, especially since they are in direct contrast to their robes, which are swaying because of the wind. So instead of selling the illusion of hovering in the air, it just looks like they are in creative mode, omnipotently observing Stark fighting for his life like it's parkour civilization. And another thing that makes this scene feel so off is Frieren's staff. Because of the massive Eye of Sauron on the end of it, it should be head heavy, and therefore the most optimal way to hold it would be closer to the head and not in the middle. A little known YouTuber called Pay Talks Anime, you probably haven't heard of him, actually made a really insightful video on this, going deeper into animation as a whole. And because I love helping out and giving back to small creators, you know me, I've linked his video in the description, so feel free to check it out after watching this one. Sort of like a palate cleanser.
Done.
Oh my god, how does adding movement make it worse? This is some One Punch Man animation, bro. I could have done this in PowerPoints. And they don't even show the finishing blow or anything. God damn, the budget is kinda homeless this season. But they make up for it in other places, I guess. Okay, so after that riveting battle, we finally get to the hot spring, and it's a complete letdown. This shit is shallower than my overanalyzing videos. But nonetheless, they still enjoy it together. Because sometimes it really is about the journey and not the destination. But yeah, even though I was kind of shitting on the first half, it really resonated with me because I literally had the same experience when I went to Japan with my friends this year. Like, we went on a 2-day trip to Hecate and it was the lowlights of the trip. Firstly, I had diarrhea as soon as I got there, and we basically didn't plan any activities, so we wandered around and did some bullshit no one really enjoyed. Then, it was getting late and we decided to check into the Airbnb. And at this point, it was pitch black. It turns out, our Airbnb was in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. This isn't even an exaggeration. It was literally a solitary house off-road with no streetlights or any buildings around it, like some serial killer hideout. But at this point, we were so tired, it didn't matter. Anyway, we decided to get dinner and oop, guess what? We're in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, and there weren't any restaurants. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little, and we did find one pizza place that was like 700 meters away, so we went there. And it turns out we were on the edge of like a very small rural suburb, so it wasn't completely devoid of human life. Alright, so now we're in the pizza restaurant eating our pizza, and we just got a message from the owner of the Airbnb saying that he was very sorry there weren't enough beds. What the fuck? So the good news is that he gave us a full refund, but the bad news was, I got the worst fucking night of sleep in my life. It wasn't even sleep, I was just pretending to be dead at that point. So what happened was I had to sleep on the floor, and fellas, sleeping on a cold, hard wooden floor with no pillow is one of the worst experiences of my life. Like, that shit should be considered a form of torture in prisons. Anyway, the next day couldn't come fast enough, and it was the lights at the end of the tunnel. The day we get to leave this hellhole of a town. We had 2 activities planned before that though. The first was a museum, which was boring, but the second was an onsen, and my god, we needed this. Now, much like the secret hot spring in the Etwas Mountains, this onsen place was a letdown. It was really shallow and small and also super hot. We were getting boiled alive, but after the last 2 days, it didn't even matter anymore. We had been through so much pain as a group, and just chilling in an onsen together, completely vulnerable, because you have to be naked in an onsen, was the most visceral part of the trip. That ridiculous Hecate visit was one of the things I reflect on the most, and I wouldn't trade the memories of those moments with my friends
for anything. And I will never forget that view.
Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Wait, don't go yet, that was a joke. To wrap up the first half, it is just vintage Frieren, except with less budget. The leisurely, almost pointless side quests which defined the show and made me fall in love with it is carried over to season 2 and reaffirms that it really is about the journey and not the destination. You've probably heard this a million times, so let's just move on. Me and my stupid chud party members wasted 2 days going to a foot bath and almost died 3 times. Least inconspicuous goddess fan art on the wall, and it's also a nice detail that Fern is facing towards it since she is religious. Is it just me, or is that a weird spot for a cabinet? Like, it's about half a meter off the ground and it's next to the window. Does it just protrude out of the wall on the outside? Like, who designed this building?
Sharpened.
As I said, I'll be stuck with no plans.
Yeah bro, I don't know if she likes me or not. She keeps giving me mixed signals.
Give me attention.
She just fucking says it!
If you're so desperate for my attention, how about you and I go on a date?
Wait, this isn't even a risky shot. It's more like...
Very well. See you tomorrow.
She not gonna take her book with her? Or maybe she just wants Stark to return it to her. r/female dating strategy. Never go on that subreddit, by the way. It's like taking a dip in a vat of acid. Oh, and this is probably a good time to mention that this is Stark's room. So Fern just reading in there already screams she wants attention. But my boy's a little too dense to realize that.
Women are a mystery.
Yeah bro, I don't know if she likes me or not. She keeps giving me mixed signals. Okay, yeah, this shot is cute, I get it. But the ears are giving me the ick. I swear they shouldn't be bent down like that. Her turban isn't exerting force in a position that should do this.
You've grown up into a fine man, Stark. I'm so happy I might treat you to a nice meal.
Yes, mommy. Thank you, mommy. Wait, got that. It's also crazy how Stark is still insecure and treading on ice around Fern, even after all the development their relationship has taken. But honestly, I can understand this. This is a massive leap forward for Stark since up to this point they were still friends, and he just accidentally confessed to her.
You just called me a grandma. That's offense 2 after the hag slip. I draw the line at 3.
What's gonna happen when you draw the line?
I'll scream and cry.
This shit is actually so fucking funny because it completely juxtaposes the grammar insults. And also, in the manga, this scene was one panel. And the animators decided to have a bit of fun and gave us this gem, which I am going to nitpick the fuck out of for the next minute. Starting now. We start off with the manga equivalent frame, then a high angle. She cries into a pillow before hiding under the blankets, absolutely drenching it in tears. Next we have sleep crying, doggy style crying. The sheets also disappear because she soaked them all, curled into the newly replaced bed sheets on the desk. And what the fuck, there's two of them now? We got her up close to the trio who are trying to avoid eye contact. And then we got her in the middle of the floor about to get crucified. Next, Frieren stabs the pillow for some reason and her clone wallows in the blanket. Now there's 3 of them. 5 of them! What the hell's going on? Does Frieren have a shadow clone jutsu spell to amplify her tantrum or something? Frieren attempts to commit suicide by jumping off the top shelf, but it's not high enough, so she broke her foot instead. Then she gets both feet amputated for a brief second. We got sneaky Frieren in the cupboard, Frieren just doing some pull-ups, Frieren looking out the window, Frieren clinging to Aizen's head for emotional support, and time! That's 3 days of crying summarized in 1 minute.
Aha. Your problem is you lack all tact and sensitivity.
You know what? That's actually right. She used the wrong working out and still got the right answer somehow. Wait, Frieren is actually a W wingman. This might be distract, guys. If you want to know what a girl likes, just hit up her mom.
What do we do now?
I could go for a snack.
Me too.
These 2 random girls literally foreshadowing one of the activities in the dates. Very subtle, I know. Okay, so then Stark and Frieren continue on some date prep, and eventually we get to this little scene. Take a look.
I think she would appreciate the view.
Thank you, Frieren. You know Fern even better than I thought you did. I'm seriously impressed by you.
No, I don't know anything. Don't be impressed by me. For Hecate was the impressive one.
For some reason, this moment is so melancholically sweet to me. Frieren scolding herself for thinking she failed as a maternal figure is something I think a lot of parents can relate to, because there isn't really a definitive playbook to raising a child. And like many people, it's Frieren's first time doing this kind of thing too. So having this constant doubts that you aren't doing enough is something that should be acknowledged and reassured. Like what Stark did here, which was wholesome as fuck. And yeah, he's right on the money. Remembering all those details about Fern, it shows Frieren truly cares for her. But what do I know? I'm not a parent. To wrap this episode up, we get this quick gag about Frieren not knowing what a date is, since she is basically a teenager in elf years.
When close friends of opposing sex go out with just each other, that is what we grown-ups call a date.
And then Fern can't sleep because she's getting butterflies in her stomach about the date tomorrow. Yeah, see what I did there with the butterflies? Anyway. And finally we end on this shot of a full moon, which symbolizes femininity, more specifically maturity, and pregnancy. Alright, this video is getting way too long, so I'ma end it here. If you've made it this far, you're a bloody legend, mate! If you noticed something I didn't, feel free to leave a comment, and until next time, thanks for watching, and pregnancy?